Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, depending on which part of the continent you find yourself. You're all welcome and thank you for joining this webinar brought to you by the Numa Group Limited. We are a Pan-African integrated marketing communications brand and positioning firm that leverages the power of brand trust to foster the growth of businesses and organizations. With a footprint spanning 32 countries on the African continent. We're also an African member of the Public Relations Global Network, PRGN, a global network of over 50 premier public relations, strategic communications, and digital firms positioned in key markets worldwide. Feel free to follow us on LinkedIn at the Newmark Group. On Facebook, we are Newmark Group Limited. On Instagram, we are Newmark Digital. On X, we are Newmark World. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Newmark Group. And yes, my name is Ruth Okanyoko Okan Ajete. I'm a senior account manager here at the Newmark Group, and I will be your host for this insightful session. And despite the evolution we see every day on the financial technology space, communicating complex offerings to consumers still remains a challenge. In this panel discussion, we'll explore the power of visual storytelling in finance and how it can be leveraged to simplify complex fintech concepts for us as Africans. For our introductory remarks for today is Mr. Gilbert Manirakiza. He's the CEO of the Numa Group. He is a brand leadership, PR, strategic communications expert, and with an added advantage of multilingual communications. He's a CIPR and AICC member and has worked with the United Nations, the World Bank, the IMF, the FAO, the African Union, among other global organizations. He has consulted for local and global blue chips such as General Electric, Barclays, now Absa Bank, the Rockefeller Foundation, governments of Japan, France, Dubai, Singapore, just to name a few. Through Newmark, he has contributed to the evolution of the PR industry in Eastern Africa and the whole continent, actually. So, distinguished guests, without much ado, help me welcome Mr. Gilbert Manirakiza. Over to you, Gilbert.
Thanks, Ruth, and thank you all those who have joined us this morning to have an amazing conversation with an amazing cast of experts. That is those who have joined me on this panel, Eunice, Abraham, and Patrick. Thank you so much for coming in to have what I feel is going to be an insightful, but also educational conversation about the power of visual storytelling within a very interesting sector, one of the fastest growing sectors in Africa, that is the fintech sector. And I would like to mention that visual storytelling is at the very core of human connection. And here at the Newmark Group, we operate, like Ruth said, across Africa. And as we help clients and brands tell compelling stories, we try to make sure that these stories not just capture attention, but also drive their influence. And today I want to kind of take you on a brief journey about neuroscience, the neuroscience of storytelling, the power of visual storytelling within influence, and also how Africa's traditions and visual design approaches offer opportunities to brands in the modern era. So in addition to that, I'll also talk about actionable insights that I think CEOs and marketing heads can actually use and leverage to build, one, trust to capture attention, two, amplify influence, and also drive decision-making through visual storytelling. Because at the end of the day, what you want to do is to influence decisions positively. Now, let's think about the science. Why do stories move us? Why do some narratives stick while others don't? And the answer lies right here in the brain, because when we hear a compelling story, multiple regions in the brain actually light up and become very active. And this is more so than language processing. And this is because visual areas of the brain are much more active and influential than those that control other parts of our lives. So here's really what happens. A well-told story actually triggers the release of oxytocin, and this is the same hormone that fosters trust and empathy, and this is why stories can make us feel much more connected to either a brand or a cause. And the brain processes information 22 times faster. That is, it processes visual information 22 times faster than information that comes in text form. This is very critical, especially when this information is presented in story form compared to raw facts. And stories also activate the same neural pathways that you find, in real life experiences, which means that when we hear a story, it's as if we are leaving that particular situation. So the same impact that a good story has on our brain is the one we would leave out as if we are the ones experiencing that story ourselves. So this is why storytelling is very important for what we call memory consolidation. So we remember things better when they are told in story format. And I believe for CEOs and marketing heads, this is actually very, very critical, because a brand that tells a compelling story isn't just selling a product, it's actually forging a relationship, an emotional connection with the audience it's targeting. And also, emotional connections tend to drive loyalty, advocacy, and long-term growth. And let's just reflect on this a bit more. How does visual storytelling enhance this neurological impact? Let's look at the visual side of the storytelling. So the human brain processes visual information 60,000 times faster than text, and 90% of the information transmitted to the brain is visual. This is why the right colors, imagery, shapes, design elements can actually evoke emotions like that instantly, because of the sheer speed of travel of visual information. And therefore, brands that actually use visual storytelling effectively tap into this power to increase engagement and recall, and also to strengthen emotional resonance and drive consumer action. For example, a study by MIT found that the brain can identify images seen for as little as 13 milliseconds, if I'm not mistaken, and therefore visuals evoke emotions faster and much more deeply than text or words. So think about how a single image can convey joy, sadness, or urgency. And therefore, visual storytelling can be used to simplify decision making by making complex ideas easy to understand. For instance, if you use infographics, you can turn data into actionable insights. And also, you've heard people say that a picture, is it a picture tells a story, or a picture is worth 1,000 words? I think that's the right expression. And literally, when you look at the neuroscience of storytelling and visual storytelling, to be more precise, it's actually very true. It's right. So think about some of the world's most influential brands and their storytelling. The fact that their storytelling isn't just their words; it's in their logos, it's in their advertising campaigns, it's in their packaging. It's also about how consistently they deliver their visual identity to deliver narratives that visually lead to a lasting impact. And I think our webinar today and our panelists are going to illustrate this much more concretely for the fintech sector. And obviously, I hope many CEOs and marketing heads are going to listen very carefully here, because the main takeaway from that is that investing in visual storytelling to capture attention and build trust and influence decision is a worthy investment. And that's why some brands heavily invest in it. Now, let's think about Africa's own storytelling cultures. Africa, as all of you may know, be it Ghana or Nigeria or any country, is a hub of storytelling. We grew up, and I was telling the other panelists before we started that I fondly remember some of the stories I heard as a very, very small boy, and they evoke nostalgia, they evoke connection to the places where those stories are coming from, whether it's the story of Anansi from West Africa or Sungura from East Africa, Sungura being the rabbit, the funny, cunning rabbit you find in historical folk tales from many Central and Eastern African countries. Those are stories that I even now I desire to hear them. And when I'm here, when I remember the fact that my mind used to visually go to that setting where, and I would visually see this hare or this spider, cheekily doing various things within its ecosystem. And therefore, long before books, the histories of our people were carried forward through oral traditions, folk tales, and proverbs. In West Africa, we had the griots who preserved history and histories of nations through song and poetry, acting as the original brand ambassadors, if you will, of culture and heritage. And African proverbs distill complex wisdom into memorable lines that are just passed down for generations, and we repeat them without knowing where they're from. But it's just like a great brand tagline, right? So if you hear the Swahili proverb, haraka haraka haina baraka, it essentially means hurry, hurry has no blessing. It teaches patience. It's a value that could resonate in a brand's messaging, for example. I'm sure you have many examples in Ghana and beyond. And in traditional settings, stories actually weren't just an entertainment feature. They were a means to teach people, to preserve values, and to inspire action. For brands, this means storytelling isn't just about selling, it's about educating, engaging, and empowering your audience. It is also about tapping into Africa's rich storytelling traditions that brands can use to create marketing that actually feels authentic. And that's a really big word, not just authentic, but also culturally and traditionally relevant. And in addition to storytelling, I believe that visual storytelling using bold and vibrant and deeply symbolic shapes is one of those things that are associated with Africa, and I hope you agree. Whether you're talking about the intricate patterns that you see in the kente cloth in Ghana, for example, and the powerful motifs in the Ndebele wall paintings of South Africa, or whether you're looking at other types of visuals you see across Africa. I was recently in Benin Republic, that is in West Africa, not far from Ghana, and I was just awed by these amazing murals done by local artists on this fence of the port. It's a very, very long fence, and they have repurposed it for art. And I remember just every time I would pass that particular section of the city, I would find myself transfixed and just looking at this wall every single time and admiring these vibrant interpretations of the visual culture of the country and the interpretations of the feeling of the experiences of people in that particular setting. So Africa's visual culture has always been rich with meaning. And I think we will hear how our colleagues have tapped into this and have made use of this. But tapping into this legacy must be done with authenticity and respect as well, because when used correctly, African design elements can actually bring a very strong sense of identity and heritage, and an instant recognition and differentiation, but also emotional depth and cultural relevance. And I think that this is a very important thing for brands to consider. For example, there are some brands that we have seen successfully incorporating African textiles into their designs, or even African shapes and African geometric symbols, in order to even not just create products, but also brand the products and package the products and mix these traditional visual traditions with modern interpretations of what the product is supposed to offer in terms of features to a customer. And I think it's all good to talk about these concepts, but it's also good to quickly reflect on how some of these things can be applied in the context of a brand. First of all, I think it's important to build trust through authenticity and using storytelling to humanize the brand. And also sharing behind the scenes stories, for example, when you're talking about multimedia content. We've seen many brands using customer testimonials. We've seen many brands also talking about the journeys of their brands, of their products, of even their founders. And I believe that this is something very, very helpful to create that authentic connection with the audience. I think that the second thing is to capture attention with visuals, obviously, because storytelling in and of itself is great, but like I prefaced earlier, adding the visual element is very important, and therefore it's important to invest in high quality visuals. And we'll see how colleagues on this panel have done this. And the idea is to align the visuals with that narrative, that story that we've talked about. It's actually more complex than it may sound, or than I am making it sound, and that's why we have a whole session like this to discuss how it can be done and how it has been done well. But also there's a third element, which is to really amplify influence with consistency. And I think sometimes this is not recognized as part and parcel of visual storytelling. If you are consistent with your visual storytelling across all touch points, whether it's your website or your social media platforms, or even your packaging and advertising and so forth, you stand a higher chance of getting that recognition and that top of mind relationship that people will build with you. And I'm sure that my colleagues can illustrate this very well. And I would say that at the end of the day, you want to drive decision making, but simplicity is required in that sense. So visuals are one of the ways to drive simplicity or to simplify complex ideas and concepts. And obviously, fintech is inherently complex because you first of all have financial services, which in and of themselves can be quite complex, at least from a practitioner's or an industry point of view. And therefore, customers don't really care about how complex things are behind the scenes, but they are behind the scenes. Communicating certain aspects of the financial sector is not the easiest thing, leave alone the technology side of it. And now when you put the two together, I think it makes for a cocktail of potential complexity. And therefore, I respect all those who are in the art of fintech brand storytelling. And I think many can benefit from the experiences we'll hear today. I believe that I've covered a lot of what I wanted to cover in these introductory points. And all I want to say is that it's powerful to leverage cultural relevance, to incorporate African storytelling traditions and visual designs into marketing outputs and collaterals in order to be able to connect with audiences authentically. And I look forward to brands or to seeing more brands that will thrive in Africa's evolving marketplace by embracing essentially what we're talking about, which is storytelling in its truest sense. That is one that fuses neuroscience, cultural authenticity, and powerful visuals. Because at the end of the day, here at Newmark, that's really what we are in business to do. We believe that storytelling is more than a marketing tool. It's a bridge between a brand and audiences past, between an audience's past and future, but also between the local and the global. I therefore encourage all of you, whether you are marketers, creatives, or business leaders, to embrace Africa's storytelling power and use it to create brands that inspire, connect, and leave a lasting impact across the board. And I'm very, very excited about the conversation we are just about to have, and I look forward to interacting with all of you. And if you have questions, I believe we'll have a segment to tackle them shortly. Back to you, Ruth.
Wow. Wow. Those are some startling revelations, Gilbert. I can't even imagine that a human brain actually processes 60,000 times faster than text. Visuals. Wow. And it makes sense more now, and that's my attention gets to things that are done or told in the story in telling form, because if 90% of the information that I put in my brain is visual, then that's where it comes from. I understand it now. I'm sure everyone else has got or paid attention a lot because of the storytelling Gilbert just used to help us understand what he was trying to say. But if you just joined us, you're welcome to this webinar. Follow us on LinkedIn as the Numa Group, on Facebook as the Numa Group Limited, on Instagram as Newmac_digital, on X as Newmac World, and you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel as the Newmac Group. Thank you so much, Gilbert. So next is our panel discussion. And before we do that, please permit me introduce our August panelists. We have Eunice Asantua Ankuma. She's a corporate communications strategist with over 10 years of experience in the communications industry. She has built a distinguished career as an accredited PR practitioner, MCIPR, and a certified digital financial practitioner, CDFP. Eunice is passionate about digital financial literacy, and that's why we have her on our panel. Our next panelist is Mr. Patrick Asare from POM. He's a product and customer experience leader at Haptel, driving product strategy using experience and customer support. He ensures seamless digital solutions that enhance customer satisfaction and innovation in fintech and e-commerce. His leadership has transformed Haptel's position as a leading digital solutions provider. Then we have Mr. Abraham Japlete. He serves as the head of digital at eTransact, bringing over a decade of experience in web and mobile application development. He's self-taught in 2012 and has been instrumental in the development of numerous web portals for both large and small-scale businesses in Ghana, including governmental agencies and ministries. So I would run straight to Eunice. And Eunice, hearing that our brain processes 60 times visuals faster than it does for text. Please tell us why all this is important. Why do we need storytelling to be able to understand these complexities of the fintech industry? Why is it important? So tell us more. Over to you.
Okay,
Eunice.
thank you. Good morning. Thank you very much. Thank you, Gilbert. That was a very detailed introduction and why, storytelling is very important for this whole conversation, and especially for a sector like the fintech industry, where you are introducing customers to something that is new when they are used to a particular way of doing things. I have a presentation, so I will share my screen and yes. Okay. Let me put it in the presentation mode. Okay, let me allow. Okay, I guess we are good to go. Now, I just want to ask the audience, especially those of you from Ghana, how many of you remember Mensako, Mensaka? If you remember, just use the emoji to give me that icon. It was MTN Mobile Money's first campaign and introduction to the Ghanaian markets. And to date, as one of the most famous and one of the common campaign or very intriguing campaigns that took the market by storm. Because in 2009, aside Kenya, that was the first time we're hearing anything like mobile money in Ghana. And if you know and you come from Ghana or Africa, any African country, you know that cash has always been king before even technology. And then these people come and they have a mobile money solution that is introducing us to a different lifestyle. So just a few things in their campaign, and then I would zoom into my presentation. So we noticed that the campaign, I mean, if you've not watched it, I'm sure it will be on YouTube. And an old woman runs to the husband who had gone to sea, and then she screams, "I've received the money," as in Mensaka. And there is a small child there and asks, "Nasikano wehe, where is the money?" And then they now introduce you to the new concepts of storing money and the value equivalent of, I mean, your physical cash value on a phone and going to an agent location to withdraw it. Now, within that story context, a lot of things were at play there. The use of imagery, the characters that were used. Because at the time, remittance was a very big deal, and it's still a very big deal in Africa. And if you needed to send money down from Accra to your parents in the village somewhere, it came with a whole lot of stories. It's that you're giving the person the money to the bus driver from your village to send the money. And there were instances where the money never got to the recipients. And so MTN noticed that if they needed to effect that kind of change in us, and initially they needed to connect it with something that was common to every one of us. We knew local remittance so well, and we knew it's from the back of and we knew that it was going to be coming from someone who was working in an urban area. And that campaign still made and has still been the best campaign that I have run campaigns, but that particular campaign. And so that was how, I mean, the mobile money company or mobile money was introduced to Ghana. Now let's look at the fintech sector. I always say that mobile money, or what we classify as digital financial services, are the byproduct of what the fintech companies do. So fintech is a combination of two words. You have finance and then you have technology, because they rely on technology to provide you with the services that you previously would have performed traditionally. So you talk about how you store money. I mean, previously you take your physical cash, you go to your bank branch, and then you go and deposit the money. Now you just take your physical cash, walk to a mobile money agent location, you do the cashing, and then the digital equivalent is put onto your wallet, literally. How you save money. Now you can have the money on your wallet and it sits there. For some mobile money wallet, they even have a component where you can save, and then you talk about how you make payments. Haptel has a portal where businesses can have their representation there. You don't need to own a physical shop now. And then they process all your payment for you. So if someone goes there and make purchase to you, that whole transaction can literally take place without you physically being there. So that's how fintech companies have sort of transformed our lives. But the catch is that prior to the introduction of the fintech solutions, people were used to certain way of performing financial transactions. So we had built certain lifestyles. I'm making a case for why simplification is very important in communicating fintech solutions or in marketing them. So if I have built a way of doing things, then you would know that if you have to ask me to change, and we know that change is one of the most difficult things to ask anybody to do. And when you look at the digital literacy rate, or the literacy rate in Africa, is relatively low. So to get someone who has perhaps never even been to school before to adopt a service like a mobile money service, to trust it, to use it, it's a different ball game. It requires a good amount of trust. So that means that if fintech companies want to get customers to switch, to make that needed change, they need to build trust. And it is this need to build trust, which would eventually translate to a change in behavior, that makes communication in general a very important part of fintech business. Because communication is a science, And so even though you have your whole technology and everything, you need that social science bit to your business. So the times where we said, oh, I've had someone tell me, oh, but we are an IT company, we don't need a communication. You need a communications person. You need this particular role to be part of your product management, product development at every core of your business. Because remember, you are building trust. You're trying to change behavior, and you cannot do that in your own old way. Even your brand colors, even the name you choose for the product that you're going to sell out there. Communications has a big role to play. And so because fintech companies would need to understand, they need to establish trust, they need to allay fears before they can win the hearts of customers. Storytelling, that includes, and I always say it's not just storytelling, effective storytelling that makes use of all the good components of what a good story should be about is needed to help a fintech company thrive, to grow in an environment like that. So why is simplification even key? Why is it important for a fintech company to break down the complexities of their services for the ordinary Ghanaian? For my mother in the village who, when I asked her to get mobile money wallets, gets the wallets, the agent gives her a pin, and then the first call she makes is like, hello, mommy, I've gotten my Momo account and my pin is but she just tells me. And you know, that's like a no. But such a person as my mom is the one that we are trying, in addition to me. So that even makes your work more difficult, because you're looking at someone like me who is educated, tech savvy. And I have a friend on this call. When it comes to technology adoption, the moment a solution comes, I am an early adopter. I just got in, I'll use the service, I'll try it. If it's good, I'd recommend. She's a late adopter, lagger. She would wait till everybody tells her, oh, this is good, try it. So when you are introducing the fintech solution, you have all this spectrum of people that you are going to communicate to. So simplification is very important. And for me, the most important thing is that what I call the fintech promise. I mean, we have touted the benefits and the capacity of fintech to drive financial inclusion. So if you are a fintech service provider, you are not just providing a solution because you want to make money. The world is hailing you. We are telling you that thanks to the technology that you have brought into finance, we've been able to expand access. I mean, thanks to mobile money, we grew the account ownership in Ghana. I think now we are over 60%. But that wasn't the case. Previously, to get a bank account, it was a whole ball game. In fact, my mother could never. There were small businesses who could never own bank accounts because the mere structure of bank, the makeup deterred them. But for mobile money, because so the fintech promise, which is the fact that you are driving financial inclusion, is the reason why you need to simplify your solution so you don't widen the existing gap already. Because if you are just marketing to people who are tech savvy, marketing to businesses who have gone to school, then what happens to the chunk informal sector where the money sits? But when we digitize payment, what we do is that we're able to collect all the small monies and have them in a place where businesses who want to grow and expand, the economy can grow because I don't have need for my money. My mother's one peswa, that woman at the market, one peswa. And most importantly, when we are able to bring them in the financial sector, what we do is that we give them the opportunity to have access to very important things like credits. Because now, thanks to mobile money, some companies sit there can look at your transaction data and say, oh, Eunice has been buying airtime, she's been moving money, so if I want mobile money loan, they can give me. And as a small business, I can expand my business. So because of this fintech promise, you owe it to all of us to simplify your communication so that everybody can understand. Then there is a challenge. Already users are struggling to make a behavioral change because because complexity deters adoption, especially among less tech savvy people. So you have brought the solution. You've come to use your infographics, very complex infographics, to tell us what's the solution. You've not said anything. You've not said anything without backing it with story, without backing it with a good understanding of the person that you are serving, their educational background, how they consume information, where they are, how they look like, even the images you are using in telling your story, they all matter. So why simplified communication? When you simplify communication, you build trust. And remember, that's all we all seek to do. It is our money. They say money is blood. In Akan, we say something like sika ye moja, money is blood. So if I'm giving you my money, I am giving you my blood. And so that makes the conversation even more important. If we're a fintech company and anytime you try to bring out a campaign, remember, people are going to trust you with their money. Even though for those of us in the industry, we know that technically that money doesn't sit with you, it sits with the bank. We don't know that. All we want to do is that you say you have a platform that I can mount my business. And then when someone wants to buy, so that is the promise you have told me. You've explained to me. That's all I want to understand. I want to know how, when they pay me, I can get my money. If I am paying charges, I want to understand how the charges are. And those things would need to be communicated to me clearly. You also want to drive adoption. I mentioned the fintech promise, which is tied to adoption of fintech solutions. You want to bridge a gap between fintech innovators and then users. So for all these reasons, you owe it to all of us and customers to simplify your communication. Now, how does marketing, visual storytelling play a role in all this? Now, marketing's job, and Patrick will tell you, once he has developed the product, it doesn't end there. You need to promote the product. Demand generation, you need to get people to be excited about the product. Customer acquisition, every Monday they're asking you how many customers have onboarded, how many have left the platform, how many are we retaining. Revenue generation, sustainability has become a very integral part of fintech business. That has been like my interest now. Beyond you doing CSR, how can you be sustainable such that your solutions are driving financial inclusion, sales, etc.? That's the promise of marketing. Now, visual storytelling is like a bridge. Because like Gilbert said, storytelling is a universal language. It connects all of us emotionally. You see the smiles that I brought back to your faces when I spoke about Minsaka campaign. The moment I said that, it took you back. It brought back nostalgic feelings of how that campaign came into the market and how we're all excited to watch it. And to date, if you call anybody by the roadside, Minsaka, they'll say, Nasikano wehi. You see, and that's the beauty of storytelling. Now, what factors? So I know you're expecting, oh, strategies do this. Now, the truth is that for every fintech solution you bring out, for every product, the actual product and the people for which the product is going for will determine your marketing strategy. So I am here to point you to things that are very important that you do not have to take out. So that's why I call it an page. You see, I've written Macom because I'm looking at a full bouquet of everything. A good combination of your PR, a good combination of your branding, a good combination of your advertising strategies, and a good combination of your marketing that will tell you your P's and all that. So what factors are very critical? For me, these factors are very important when you are trying to come up with your strategy or your marketing strategy for your fintech brand. The type or nature of the solution that you are developing, very important. What is the solution for? And when you break down the fintech sector, there are several of them. You saw the map that I showed. There are plenty of them doing different things. But the most common and the one that we are all familiar with are the payment, the ones that we say, oh, pay this, you are going to buy this. So which type of product are you bringing to the market? How are customers going to access that product? Do I need to download an app? Am I going to leverage on my existing mobile money solution? So if you take like something like remittance, previously you couldn't receive money directly on your phone from abroad. You needed to go to a bank through Western Union or something. Now today, I can give my phone number to someone in Germany and everything, and they can just send me the money directly to my account. So for such a solution like that, the customer, I don't need to do anything. All I need to do is to have my mobile money, an existing mobile money, a registered wallet. Now, if I want to use Haftel's, and I'm picking on Haftel because he's here, if I want to use any of Haftel's solutions, how do I use it? And how is Haftel communicating that solution to me in very simple, straightforward terms? And not just to me. You know, in marketing, you have your primary or your target audience, and then when you break down your stakeholders, you can break and even know that my son can even be your stakeholder. I remember when we launched Ghana Pay, we had started the campaign, it was running. One morning, I was just bathing him because we don't usually watch TV. And I had not said anything about that campaign. So I didn't even know that he had heard it. I don't know how he heard it. I was just bathing him, fighting him. And then he says, Alante, oh, Alante. Finally, Ghana Pay Alante, and I was so shocked. I'm like, where did you hear this from? And that Alante campaign was running on radio intensively for 6 months, continuous. So apparently, when we sit in the car and we are going I'm suspecting that's how he heard it. And they play it every morning. And the timing, because we chose a particular time. And that's all those things come to play. We don't have time, would have gone into media buying. The other thing is your target audience. Who is the service for? Who are they? You have to personify that person, make that person like a human being, put the person there. How does the person look like? What do they wear? What do they eat? What are they listening to? Who are their influencers? How will it? So if you're able to personify, put a name, in some instances, you can even call them a name and say, this is the person. The person that I'm trying to rate looks like Ruth. This is Ruth. She keeps a natural hair. She's like this. She likes this color. She wears this dress. She eats here. She goes here. That helps you come up with messages, stories that can resonate with them. So look at what MTN did. The woman they were looking at, she's in the village. See the setting, see the houses in the campaign. So relatable. See the young man in his suit in Accra, so relatable. The shop they entered, so relatable. These were things that we could relate. So by the time they were done in the campaign, yes, they had captured all of us. You can't even hear or your phone. So, and then we just started going like that. Your compliance status, very, very important for fintech companies. You are regulated and it is money. Our money is blood. So you need to make sure that you are in a good regulatory standing before you think of any other thing else. You should have cleared with Bank of Ghana so that when you start your campaign, BOG will not issue a communique to say, do not do business with so and so fintech because they are not compliant. You don't want to start your brand on that footing. Almost wrapping up my campaign. Now, at the heart of every fintech communication are the understanding of your customers. Very important. And I've said that. Focus on creating value through storytelling. Create value. You know how people don't buy products because they necessarily are nice or they have heard your campaign. They connect with it emotionally. I know the benefit that product is coming to me as Eunice. So that's why I would go for it. I'll not go for it because you said it. MTN did a lot of campaign, but you can ask them. It took them a while, even though we could connect with the story, for us to eventually adopt them. And today they are enjoying and everybody says, oh, they are the market. Yes, do you know how much it took them to keep educating, to keep telling us the same message over and over and over to win our trust so that we could get that value? Because my mom could receive her allowance at Asim Fosu without me having to give to a driver to send to her. She's seen value. Me, Eunice, I have seen value, so I'll keep using this. Build trust and prioritize transparency. Technology companies like this, they will do their, terms of conditions, write it in very small things that you cannot even read. And then before you know it, you have committed yourself. Be the difference. Let your customers know and understand exactly what they are signing up for. Encourage loyalty and build a community by prioritizing customer service. There was a fintech company that came into the market after MTN. And one of the tools they leveraged was customer experience. And because of that, they got a lot of people. I remember there was a time and I told you I'm an adopter. So once I see it, I just hang on. I got on and I was sending money. I was buying credits for myself. So the narration I had used was data for me. And I had entered the wrong phone number. Guess what they did? They held the money, called me after I had done the transaction and said, Madam, we noticed you were making a transaction, you were buying data, but you said to yourself, but the number you entered was wrong. So we held on and put it in a wallet we have created for you on your app. Who wouldn't like such a platform? If you were, and prior to their entrance, my bank had an app. And for most of us, when you do a survey right now, I won't mention the name of the company, a lot of young tech savvy people who are working are using their app. Even though they can be like, because if you are using a fintech app, you are not directly connected to your bank account. You are using maybe your card or your Momo wallet, but that's the power of customer service. And then you should create opportunities for user-generated content. Make brand ambassadors of your people. User-generated content. Someone should be able to post about you, to do something about you, and media. That's how we call it in PR. Because I like it. Word of mouth is still one of the biggest and the best marketing tools or channels that you can use. So focus on that. And diversity and inclusion. Your solution is not only for men. Your solution includes women. Your solution perhaps even include persons with disability. So how are you developing your solution such that everybody can use it? So that means that your team, your product development team should be very inclusive. You should stop looking down on people who cannot behave like you. You are serving them. You want to serve them. Because now all of you are chasing the few people. We have so many options. And there are a lot of people out there, a lot of people who are still excluded. Be the difference. Find a niche. Find something else that nobody is given to us. And let's see how that goes. So key Marcom strategies to help you stand out. I've spoken about understanding your customer. Tell relatable stories, localize them. Don't go and bring us stories that some PayPal used and you think it would work. There was a campaign that I used to hear, it was on POS, and that company took it off. Anytime I heard it, I was very upset because they used a woman, and from you listen to the conversation, it makes it look like, you know how when a woman needs something from a man, and it was so, I felt so insulted as a woman. I felt it was absolutely wrong. And when we were going to launch mobile money interoperability, there was a song that came with a campaign briefly. And then when they brought the song, we all liked it, but this is how it was, the song was going to be introduced. A young girl placed a call to an old man and said, "Hello, Brakami, can you send me the money?" I was on the panel. I said, "What is this? Why are we going to reinforce stereotype that is not there? Why is the young girl calling the young man, the old man to send?" That's a subtle reinforcement of a stereotype that you don't want to encourage. So quickly, I said, we are taking that out. We don't want the introduction. We can still carry our message without being this. And we took it off. So localization, tell relatable stories, but you have to be very careful. You don't reinforce stereotype. You don't use images that people cannot relate with. Most of you mock stock images, people cannot see. You are now introducing the service, and you cannot invest in shooting pictures, models that look like the people. So today I see a stock image that's on this person's fintech app. The following day I see it on the other person's fintech app. You are telling me that I can't trust you. So you need to be able to do that. Build thought leadership. It's one of the most important, like I can't really emphasize thought leadership enough. Thought leadership is establishing your foot as a credible person. It could be in several ways. It could be partnership with the media. It could be using your LinkedIn page. It could be leveraging your social media handles to talk about issues that pertain to the industry that you are in. Don't sell, educate. Education is very important for a fintech brand. If you want to win over and make an impact, educate. The videos that you're putting out there should be videos that are broken down, simple, step by step, how to process this, how can I do this, how do you do this, how do you do this on our app. Put them down in very simple, straightforward, easy to understand languages. And now there are several social media tools that allows you to do that. Content marketing, very close to, you can use your content to educate your customers. Leverage the right channels. I'm not going to talk about social media and all, you know the channels, but what you need to do is that find out if those channels are the places where your customers are listening to. You don't have to be on all social media platforms because it is there. It is quality over quantity. So know what works for you. Be empathetic. You are now introducing the solution. You are changing behavior. Don't come and make it look like we are stupid for not understanding fintech solutions and you are now coming to teach us the right thing. Our cash is still working for us. we don't have issues with this, except that we know that when you translate from cash to digital, you do yourself a lot of good. Okay, you're able to absorb emergencies, financial shock, because people are now able to save more with that. And then incentivize your customers. It's a new solution you are bringing. So gamification, it's a very common, see how you can leverage that. Automate as much as you can, but please don't overdo it. You should know, you should put in check prompts that would let you know when to come in, when the automation is not working. A customer sends a request, me, I've put my money, I've done transaction, I've been debited, the person hasn't been credited, I am calling you. It's a machine that is speaking, hello, we would attend. I'll get upset. The next minute, you even see my tail light again. So yes, automation is very good, but please make sure that you back it with some manual support. And then testimonials. Let people know what others are saying about your product. Let your customers, and that's where I spoke about building brand ambassadors. You should, your service should be so good that you don't have to struggle to tell me to do a testimonial for you or to seek my permission to do a video. If you have to beg me to do it, then it means I'm not satisfied. And you know the generation that we are in, the Gen Zs especially, they don't have time. Everybody is in a hurry. I don't know where they are running to do, but everybody is in a hurry. And then the thing is that if you have a cause, I mentioned sustainability in the first place, everybody is believing in something or supporting something that gives them value. So if you are a fintech company and you are doing something that is a cause that is worthy, talk about it. Let people know. Let your customers know what you are doing. A charity. For a long time, I was buying a wig, not because it was special than the other water brands, but I loved the fact that they told me that whenever I bought, a percentage went to the cardiothoracic center at Kolibu. So if there is a cause there, and it has to be genuine, it has to be something that affects even your digital literacy can be your big CSR. The fact that you take pride in educating people, going to villages, and don't just sit in Accra and assume that your activity just affects people in Accra. Ghana is big, Africa is big. So let's see how, if we are digitizing across board. Let me move on to my last slide. I wanted to leave you with this. And then I said that customers will not switch or change their behavior because your fintech solution is good. They would only change because they trust and believe in the value that you provide. It's a wrap. My transaction has been completed. Thank you. And I look forward to questions.
Wow, 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 wow. Wow, Eunice. Okay, so guys, I'm sure we said we wanted storytelling and we are getting storytelling. Eunice is a columnist for Ghana Web, Business and Financial Times, and other news platforms. So please, if you want to read more about her work, please, you can look on these newspapers or these platforms. You'll find a lot more of some of her work, and you can tell how passionate she is about digital finance. All right, so thank you so much, Eunice. The insights have been massive. I wouldn't even try recapping because I'm sure the storytelling approach you used has taught everybody. Nobody needs a recap. We all understood it perfectly. So let me just run quickly to Mr. Patrick Asare-Frimpong. Patrick, Eunice has told us a lot. How, if I'm a new fintech, I'm a startup, how do I go about navigating virtual tools? Because all she's saying, I need to have the tools to be able to implement them. And you at Haptel, I'm sure, have had a lot of experience with regards to this. So you would be able to tell us more. How do I, as a startup, navigate this? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that was a great presentation from Eunice. When you have such great presentations, then you are after the person, you get a bit intimidated. But I'll try my best to do much. And like you rightly said, and I think Eunice hit everything spot on. As a startup, to answer your question, or as a fintech, you have to make sure that you are telling simple stories. So I'm actually just going to walk you through some few simple stories that Haptel we've done with our app and what we have also, and I hope it's also going to help other people. So let me quickly share my desktop, if that is okay. Yeah. And can you see my desktop, please? Right. So, I mean, like Eunice did mention, consumers are facing a lot of noise. I mean, you are trying to start and do something for them. And for us at Haptel, we believe strongly in stories. In fact, our CEO, I would say, is I mean, one of the people that love to tell stories as much as possible. So we try to do that in it. So I'm going to show you some few stories. So the first story I'm going to talk about is how we simplify car insurance. So one of the problems we tried to look at was car insurance and to see how we can make it as simple as possible. People do get the situation where they need to renew their car insurance. And all the insurance companies are there. They have their own processes. Now, when we looked at it, the first thing we saw that, I mean, if you look at the car insurance space, is basically trying to get a sticker so you don't fall into any law situation, and also make sure that you are also protected in any case of that. So when you come to the Haptel app, and you click on the car insurance, our messages are very simple. You can see clearly here, we are trying to depict what it is. It's a car, it's a sticker, and we actually don't even talk about it as car insurance. We say instant insurance sticker as fast as vroom. So this now makes the person feel like, okay, this is what it is. The next thing is to make sure that they take simple steps and then get it. At the time the person is trying to buy the insurance, he knows his car number, and we need the vehicle chassis number, what we call the vehicle identification number. And if you look at the image that is the last one after give your car number, we actually try to depict your car number on your number plate so that you can relate with that specific car number. And when you do relate, we are actually also showing you where you can actually get a chassis number that you have to put there. So by just clicking to get, putting your car number, getting your VIN, straight ahead, we give you your sticker, you buy it. So then it makes it very relatable. You are not filling some plenty forms. You are not actually going through tedious exercise. You are dealing with something that you can relate. So this is how, if you take the problem that you are trying to solve and the market you are trying to deal with, you can look at it in a simple story, you can say in just few instances, and then you could do that. Another story I want to tell about is how we do food scheduling. I mean, most times you are hungry, you come to the office, like right now, you're on this webinar, and normally when you get to work, you start working, you know, oh, okay, this afternoon at this point in time, I'll eat. But in most cases, you have to wait till that time, and probably your favorite meal has been purchased already, or the restaurant has closed, or you forgot to get it. So in Haptel, we also allow people to buy food. So as soon as you come, like 8 a.m. in the morning, 6 a.m. in the morning, you take the Haptel app, the restaurant is not open. But we tell you the restaurant is not open, you can schedule it. So at this point in time, I want to eat today at 2:30 to 3 p.m. And that's when I want the food to get to me. So simply we tell you, can you schedule it? You indicate the time, and then the food will be brought to you at that time. At this point, I just wait. By 2:30, somebody calls me, my food is here, I get it. So with these, and you can see that the interfaces does not have a lot of text. It's just simply giving you the activities that you can perform. And we are also currently looking at simplifying our credit lifestyle. We all do things like you eat, you buy data, you buy airtime, you do all this. The question is that sometimes you might not have enough at the same time, and we all know it as loans or credit. So everybody wants to do it with. Our way of relating to it in the first place is we decided not to even call the service loan or credit or anything. We actually call it pay small small in our local language, chianin kakran kakra. So even though it might not sound like a very good phrase, is relatable because it helps everybody. Now, if you look at even the creatives that were used about the stories we were telling and the interface, you add your food you want to buy, anything. As soon as you get to the checkout, you get to see pay small. When you select it, we're actually telling you what you are doing and exactly what it is that you're going to have. And we give you an explanation what it is, what you're paying now, what you pay later, and break it down easily for the person to relate to it. And with just these 2 steps, you can just have this your groceries, bring it to you, and be able to relate to it in a way that makes it easy for you to live your daily lives and then make it happen. The last story I want to talk about is like what you just mentioned. We were doing this little project with Gibbs, where Gibbs has launched GHKR. It's out there, and shops were having it, and it was not moving as much as possible. We noticed that the language and the thing about it was more like if you're a big firm, that's when you need GHKR, a big shop, that's where you need GHKR. So we started looking at the story around who should need it. So if you look at the website we built for it, we even did not bring any big shop. If you look at the woman that's on the left, it's a normal market woman that's selling cloth. All she wants is that she doesn't have a POS, but people come from banks and they want to. So what do? We are saying no card, no PO machine, no prompt, just stand into your. If you scan, be able to pay him instantly. So if I'm a shop owner, I'm this woman, yeah, all I'll just do is to get this and generate the QR code, put it in front of my shop. Anybody comes, scans, and is able to pay instantly. So Rita too, just answer questions. I've used our own stories to show you as a startup how you can take these problems, simplify them into simple stories, and make sure that your application or your interfaces that you are using to relate with your customers are able to relate with them in the choice of language, in the choice of screens, in the choice of colors, and also in the choice. If you notice, all the screens have colors that show you where to click, right? There's a red, you see, it's all pointers, and it helps, like Gilbert mentioned, the brain has so many things to process. You have to make it easy that the person can see what is important and the person can deal with it. By the way, this is my QR code. If you scan and pay me with your bank account, it will come to me. So I think that is where I want to end it with how these stories can actually be used and tell these stories in a way that makes these products more relatable. And I believe that for all us fintechs and even up and coming fintechs, our mind should always go on to what are the stories we want to tell, because that's what relates. I really love the MTN story. I mean, as soon as she said, I got it, right? I mean, you don't need to do much, right? But when I mentioned also about car insurance, you always really remember most times, even when the police is ahead of you checking the insurance. So you need a place where you take just 2 steps, put your car number, your car number, indicate the policy you want, and buy it. By the time you get it, it can even show you to the police that report it. So these are how you take the real value chain for the customers, tell the stories around it, and then put it in. At this point, I don't know whether there will be questions, and I will take them at this point.
Okay, that's remarkable. Thank you so much, Patrick. If you just joined us, we are discussing visual storytelling in finance and why it's important to simplify complex fintech offerings for African consumers. Please feel free to drop any questions or suggestions into our Q&A box, and our panelists will gladly respond. Don't forget that this webinar is brought to you by the Numa Group Limited. We are a Pan-African integrated marketing, communications, and brand positioning firm that leverages the power of brand trust to foster the growth of businesses and organizations with a footprint in 32 countries on the African continent. Follow us on LinkedIn as the Numa Group. Follow us on Facebook as Numa Group Limited, on Instagram as Newmark_digital, on X as Newmark World, or you can subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Newmark Group, and we will interact more with you. So Abraham, tell us how all this, can be transformed into visually digestible formats. I mean, Eunice has given us, practical ways to understand all this. Patrick has given us examples from what he has done. If you could also tell us how we could, transform all this into digestible forms, I'm sure our audiences will be excited to see and to hear them. And audiences, please, we are waiting for your questions. We are hoping you send them soon and our panelists can respond to them as soon as possible. Over to you,
Okay.
Abraham.
All right, great. Great presentations so far, and I really like all that Eunice and Patrick said. And I would also be sharing my screen very soon. But first off, I think I would like to start off by talking about some tools that I personally use to try to visualize these features. And one of the things that I take into consideration when I'm trying to visualize these features is to take the features one at a time. Realize that Eunice mentioned something very important, and she mentioned something about trust. And you need to break down your fintech products one at a time. It's about money. They are coming to use a platform to either save money or to transact business on a platform. You will be surprised as little as 10 Ghana cedis can go wrong, and then they are on social media and they are lambasting your brand. So it is very crucial that you build trust. And one of the ways to do that is I tried as much as possible at each transact to break down the products one at a time. So I pick one product, one feature, and then I try to simplify it in about 10 seconds or 15 seconds. I just talk about that feature. But one important thing too I add whilst I do that is I make sure that I add images that you can relate with. Just as Eunice is saying, you add images that you can relate with. Because of that, I am a designer that don't believe in using off-stock photos. I say this because you see that there's a particular stock photo that this brand has used, another brand is using that same thing, another brand is, so it doesn't really build trust in a sense that if I am watching it, I feel probably you didn't put in much effort into trying to promote this brand. So probably you're just trying to do something and you're not going to last. But if you spend money in hiring influencers or hiring photo models to try to communicate with visual emotions, that this product is doing this product is doing that, it helps in sustaining that brand and building that brand trust. So I'll be sharing my screen soon to show you a very short, I think 15-second video on a particular feature on our new products called Excel Ghana. If I can share my screen. Okay, so this video, whilst I play this video, I'll be using this video to do my presentation, to look at the color scheme, the text in the background, the images we used, and the voice that we used also to try to send this very message on this feature. I don't know if you can hear, if you can.
I can't hear.
We're not
Do
getting
you
the
have
sound, Abraham.
do you have
Okay.
earphones in your
Yes,
laptop?
yes. Okay. So I think
Maybe
I
if
have
you
to
unplug them.
deactivate
You are
it.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Let me deactivate. Okay.
On any Sending money just got better with Excel Ghana. You can now send money from your Excel Ghana app to your loved ones on any mobile wallet and pay just 50 Ghana pesos as transaction fee on any amount. Plus, every transaction you make earns you loyalty points. So rack up points and redeem them later. Not just that, there's more. Sending money from your Excel Ghana app to any Excel account is totally free. What more can you wish for? Download the Excel Ghana app now on Google Play Store or App Store and enjoy seamless transactions. Excel Ghana, do more with your money. Sending.
Okay, great. I don't know if
if you heard all of that, if it was edible.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Was it clear?
Yes, it
Yes,
was.
it was.
Good. So this visual video, it's just talking about just one feature of Excel Ghana, which says that you can send money and pay just 50 Ghana pesos. And the images that we use in this video are not stock photos. Okay, these are images of students on campus. Now, we are using students on campus because we want students to be our primary target audience when we want to promote this product. So our focus is to promote this product to them. So Legon students. So the lady here she's a Legon student. The gentleman here also finished university, I think GIJ, and then he's also on social media. I think he's a micro influencer. So we use these people to try to send a particular message. So so you can see that they are excited, and because there's something new that is coming up, which is Excel Ghana. Now, this shows you the interface of the Excel Ghana app. Now, I like the UI of the Excel Ghana mobile app because people are very particular about their finances, especially they are looking at their balance. Now, if you launch the mobile app, the first thing you see is a dashboard, this beautiful UI dashboard that has been made. Now, you can see your balance right from the start. I've visited some mobile apps, I've downloaded some mobile apps, and I've tried to find my balance, especially on some platforms. And I keep searching for where my balance is. What is my last transaction? How much have I spent so far today? And that is exactly what we've tried to simplify with the Excel app. Now, one important thing with fintech products is you need to let them know exactly what you want them to do on your mobile app. You need to highlight the main features, the main things that what your company is focusing on in trying to promote the product. What is your USP? What are you trying to promote? What are you focusing on? And here, Excel app is focusing on the transfers, the ports, the give, the top up. These are the main features we are focusing on. And then we have sub features. So you find all of that as menu tabs on the homepage. Now, one important feature is the ports feature, which we are trying to promote. It's still very new. We are still developing it, and we'll be rolling out some promotional activities and flyers and for the ports feature. But the port feature has some very unique features. And what are we trying to say? We're trying to say that if you are saving money physically, we used to have this Susu box where we save with Susu box, and then you would, before you realize, you are saving for February. Let's say you are saving for Valentine, and then by first week in February, you're already breaking the box because your landlord says that your rent is due, so you need to pay. Now, it's very common and easy for you to go and break that box. But with Excel, we are saying that if you are saving on the platform, you are trying to build that financial literacy, where we are trying to say that you can save and you can be very disciplined with your finances when you are saving on Excel. So you can transact on Excel, you can save your money on Excel. So we've built this beautiful feature here. So you see, the steps are very easy to navigate through. So you click on port, it takes you to the next page where port, you can select whether you are doing a regular port, shared port, Isusu, or investment. When you click on any of them, it asks you, what are you saving for? Now, the port name, the port purpose, and everything there is clearly defined. So you know exactly what you are trying to do. You can decide to lock the ports, meaning that if I'm saving from January, I can lock the port all the way to December. So I am financially disciplined, whether I want to withdraw the money or not. I will not be able to touch my money until my due date is up. So if I'm saving to December to blow my money in December, whatever I'm saving now, whatever I put in the pot section of the Excel app, I cannot touch it until then. But you can see that it is clearly defined here. All right. So when you switch to what I'm saving for, you can lock the pots and let's say I'm saving 30,000 Ghana cedis. I'm saving for rent. I'm not locking it because I want to be able to touch my money whenever I want to. But if you lock it, you can't touch your money. Then once I confirm, the port has been created successfully. So it's the visualization of how you save your money with Excel is clearly defined. You don't have to go through struggles. So you can see that on your dashboard where your port area is. You can see how much money you have contributed. You can see your start date. You can see the maturity date. You can add money or withdraw money. Now, if you've locked the port, you cannot withdraw the money. But here you can see that it is unlocked. Okay, so this is clearly defined UI for the Excel feature for ports, and there are so many features on the app here. But the good thing is you can find all the features you are looking for on the homepage. So when I go down there, I see home, I see payment, I see card, I see marketplace. There's transfer, there's port, there's give, there's top up. All these features are clearly defined on the homepage. Now, one of the important things that I want to touch on is for marketers or for promoters of fintech products. The focus more is on increasing downloads and then increasing activities on the platform. So somebody downloads the app, the person has to onboard, the person has to perform a transaction, or the user engagement on the app should be increased. But then again, it comes back to how do you measure the success of this campaign? So I'm running this campaign on social media, and then they have to download the app. They have to click and download. Now, organically, you have to use Google and then iOS, so Google Play and then iOS App Store to track the performance, as in the number of downloads. But then it's becoming very tedious to try to merge the two because there are two different platforms, two different links. So I've seen ads where there's one QR code for Google Play Store and there's another QR code for Google App Store. For Apple App Store. Then it's a little confusing because I'm trying to scan the Google Play Store on my Android phone, but then the other QR code is closely attached to the iOS QR code. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. So you see them placed together in one space at the same spot. It makes it difficult for you to try to capture one and then leave the other. Now there is a platform, there is a tool I want to share with you called URL Genius. Okay, this platform gives you a complete total control of both platforms in one link. So you enter the Google QR code here, and then you enter the Google link. That's for the Google App Store, or the Google Store, and then you enter the link for the Apple Store. All right. Then URL Genius creates one unique link for you. Now, that unique link is what you are going to use to create your QR code. What does this do? Now, if I am scanning this QR code, okay, so let us do this short exercise here right now. So this QR code at the end here, I would want us to scan. So you realize that this QR code has been meshed into one using the URL Genius. If you scan this QR code right now with your mobile phone, whether you're using Android or you're using Apple App Store, it automatically detects the device you are using. So if I'm using Android and I scan this, it takes me to Android. If I'm using Apple and I scan, it takes me to an iPhone App Store. If we can all confirm if this is working, because I'm very confident it is working. Yes. So if you have done that, can you put it in the comment section?
I've done it, and it works very well.
Perfect. So you see, this creates a very seamless buyer journey for the customer who is going to onboard your product. All right. Rather than putting two QR codes side by side for them to scan. Now, one other feature I like about URL Genius is it gives you a dashboard where you can monitor the success of your links, what is happening with your links, where they are watching the link from, where they are clicking the link from, where they are downloading the product from. And it's easier to convince management that, okay, I've taken $1,000 for 3 months campaign. Now they ask you how many people have downloaded, how many people have even clicked on the link. If you don't use this, you might not be able to have one platform to monitor all of them. So I can see from here that based on the performance of this link for 1 month, I have a unique clicks of 1,149, and I have unique visitors of 976. This means that people who clicked on the link are new people, and they are not an old person or an already a user who has gone back to click on the link. Okay, now I'm able to determine which platform is leading. So realize according to this, though we have a lot of iPhone users, Android users are still leading per this data. All right, and iPhone users 32%, Android users 55.8%. So you are able to convince management that, okay, something is going on with whatever campaign we are running. And we've not been running campaign for the past since January began. So these are all organic clicks based on the short ads we've been putting out there. So this is another one. All right. So the last thing I'll talk about is design. So merging colors or putting colors.
Get rewarded for every transaction you make on Excel Ghana. Earn loyalty points and redeem them for free airtime, data, and so much more. Download Excel Ghana now on the Google Play Store or App Store. Excel Ghana. Do more with your money.
Good. So the background is clear. This is one of the tips I would like to. The background should be you can put anything on a white background. The people you use should be clear. Make sure that the text is bold enough and you are communicating something. So we are communicating free. We are highlighting on free. You can redeem them to buy free airtime and data. And then realize that the gentleman beside her is also a student. So these are not stock photos. You won't find these photos anywhere out there. They are not stock photos. So this is created purposely to promote these features. So he's surprised because he can now redeem his loyalty points to buy free airtime and data. You can download on Excel. You can download the app now.
Get rewarded for every transaction you.
Yes, and then another platform I would like to talk about briefly is Animaker. Animaker helps you to do animated videos. You can do these videos for free. You can do explainer videos. All of this platform is a free platform, but if you want to be able to do more videos, multiple videos, and download multiple videos per month, you have to pay something small. But for basic users, it's free. You can use this platform to do all of that. Now, surprisingly, people ask me, how do I do this? I use Canva to do this. All right. And Canva makes it easier for you to be able to merge text and motion graphics or animated text together. All right. So though I learned graphic design with Photoshop and I learned visual effects with After Effects, I am able to still bring everything together with Canva. And I do this very seamlessly, and it saves me a lot of time. So there are tutorial videos you can watch on Canva, and they are not just for static images. Now Canva has even grown so much more that there are a lot of AI tools embedded with Canva. You can do absolutely everything. You can build websites with Canva. You can build QR codes and make things easier for you with Canva. So I would like to end here. Oh, sorry, one more thing. The QR code platform that I used to build is Bitly. So Bitly not only shortens your URL, but you can also build QR codes now with Bitly. Okay, and Bitly can also track the performance of your QR codes. For instance, I have 2 QR codes. So I'm running a campaign for, let's say, this very product. I can have a QR code for it. Okay, but it's going to the same link. So I'm directing traffic to the same app for them to download. But then I want to be able to monitor 2 different campaigns at the same time. So we can have a QR code for a billboard. Though it is going to the same URL, we can monitor that QR code as um, a product, sorry, as a design on its own. So I can monitor all those who are clicking on my URL Genius link through the billboard ads with a unique QR code. And I can do this same QR code for maybe my social media users who are going to also scan on social media. Now, this is very effective if you want to have influencers to try to promote your product. You can give all of them unique URLs or unique QR codes, and then you'll be able to monitor the success of their campaigns whenever you are using influencers or whenever you are using diverse platforms. So I would end here, and thank you for having me. I'll pause for questions.
Woo. Today has been an amazing session, honestly. It's unfortunate that we are behind time, almost behind time. And there are a number of questions. A number of questions for our panelists. What we'll do is we're going to upload this video on our website, Newmark, on our Newmark website, and all your responses will be put in there. But maybe just for the next 7 minutes, let's take the first 2 questions. Patrick, I'm sure you answered this one already, but you could reiterate it for if the person just joined us. How it says Habital has been successful in scaling consumer adoption of mobile payments using simple narratives. What strategies worked best for engaging first-time fintech users, particularly in rural areas? And then, Eunice, you could take the next story that says, how can fintech companies balance storytelling with regulatory compliance while still making their offering simple and engaging? As brief as you can, so we'll be out of here in the next 5 minutes. Thank you very much.
Sure. Right. I'll make the answer very brief. I mean, few things. Number one, we've talking about it. It has to be simple and also relatable stories. That's the first thing. Make sure that you craft everything that you are doing to simple. So how after wherever we want to go and any solution you want to do, we want to make it as simple and relatable as possible. We trust local network. So you see us working a lot with merchants, retailers, riders. I mean, the people who are on the ground. And so you typically have a startup trying to be a farm gate business and he's sitting in Accra. It doesn't work. You have to be at the farm gate, relate with the people and do that. And for us, what has helped us a lot is we try to do a lot of solutions that use offline, like USSD, and also agency related. So one of our things with our quick commerce business is that we are found in about 26 locations in Ghana. So it's also part of what we do to make sure that we are more relatable and making sure also that the cost of the transactions, because we are a payment company, are not too exorbitant. You have to price it appropriately. So I think that's what I would say has been some of the strategies we have employed.
Thank you,
Ruth,
Eunice.
Ruth, if I'll jump in very quickly on that same question. Another strategy that we certainly have used, and I'm certain that maybe Patrick and the other colleagues have made use of it, is leveraging USSD type of messaging or channels whereby you are not necessarily communicating to people who have smartphones, because in rural areas, not everyone has smartphones. So things like bulk SMS, applications, USSD applications. USSD applications basically are those ones that leverage a short code, so whereby a brand or a company will tell you dial, *111# to access XYZ messages or promos or campaign information. That is very practical for rural areas where you have very low internet coverage even for smartphones, and also bulk SMS coverage, and use tends to be very helpful for sending simple messages that people can act on, especially when you are sure that they don't necessarily have access to the most reliable internet connection. That's just to add on to what Patrick has just said.
Yeah, that's very right.
Thank you, Gilbert. Over to you, Eunice.
So what I want to say briefly is that the regulatory, your regulatory compliance status should be a big part of your communication from the very
Can you hear
beginning.
me?
When you launch your fintech products, people should know who you are, what you do, and the license that you're working with, which of the regulatory bodies. So it's a process. The moment you launch your service or you're about launching your brand and everything, that's a continuous education that you do. And thankfully, the regulators do not restrict how you break down your message to your customers. Of course, they may come in if they see that you are not telling them the truth about your products. So you would have to remain very authentic and truthful about the kind of license that you have. And then you have to stay within your remit, what you have been asked to do. What kind of regulatory license do you have? If you don't have a license to own customer funds, you don't have to project a brand that shows that you can own wallets or customers can create and hold funds with you. That's not what your regulatory. So it's something that you do and you imbibe in your communication. When you put your materials out there on your website, let your customers know your level of regulation. Are you ISO certified? Let them know. In simple terms, what does ISO certification means for your brand, means for their security? If you are into card, are you PCI DSS certified? All those things, let them know which are your regulatory been
I think we're losing Eunice.
Sorry.
Hello, can everyone hear me? Are we losing Eunice? Hello?
Okay. I can hear Ruth, but she can't hear me. Please, can anybody hear me? You could give me a thumbs up.
Yeah, Eunice, now I can hear you, but you were breaking on my
Okay.
end. I'm not sure if it was the same for everybody else.
Okay, so let me just briefly. So I said earlier that the person wanted to know that with the financial literacy levels across, how can fintech companies balance storytelling with regulatory compliance? So I was saying that your regulatory compliance should be a big part of your storytelling. In that, even when you go out, before you launch your product, your customers should know where you stand. Are you licensed by the central bank? It should be on your website. Your regulatory partners, if you are into investments, are you with SEC? Are you licensed? All those information should be out there, explained in simple terms. In terms of security, if you are ISO certified, what does it mean for your customer security? All those things should be briefly explained in simple, straightforward terms on your website. In your campaigns, you can put something there that shows that you are regulated by the, and the thing is that after you say these things on several platforms, it becomes a big part of your communication. So it will get to a point that you don't even have to put it out there that you are already licensed, because your customers would know. And the thing is, regulators do not regulate how you campaign. They only make sure that you are within the mandate that they have given you. So in telling your customers, in sharing what your brand promises and what you have to just make sure that it is compliant with the license that the regulators have given you, so you don't fault. Yes, thank you.
Amazing, amazing. It's very unfortunate. We have loads of questions that people wanted to ask each one of you, but because of time, we'll have to put them in the answer Q&A section of the video when we post it on our website. So please, we will reach out to you, our speakers, our panelists, for the answers, and then we'll put them on our website for the participants to refer to in the future. Thank you so much. I'm sure some of the participants want to reach out to some of you privately. We will also share your details, if that's okay with you, with them, or your handles, especially maybe on LinkedIn. We could do that briefly. Patrick, how do we find you on LinkedIn, or anywhere else that our listeners can find you?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn, Patrick Asare Frimpong. It's simple. And also on X, I'm also Patrick Asare Frimpong.
Right. And then
Yeah.
Eunice and Abraham.
Yes, so you can also find me on LinkedIn. My name is Abraham Jaglete on LinkedIn. Yes. Mm.
Yeah, I'm also
Right.
on LinkedIn.
Eunice.
I'm also on LinkedIn, Eunice Asanso Ankuma. I'll put my handle in the chat box so we can connect.
Okay. Okay. All right. So thank you so much. It's been an amazing session. I've enjoyed every single bit of it. Fintech didn't look or sound too serious after all, because of the storytelling approaches all of you use. Thank you so much, Mr. Gilbert Manirakiza, CEO of the Numa Group. Thank you very much, Mr. Patrick Asare. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mrs. Asare Frimpong, Head of Products and User Care of Haptel. Thank you, Ms. Eunice Asanto Ankuma. She's a FinTech PR and communications consultant. And thank you so much, Mr. Abraham Jaglite, Head of Digital eTransact. This has been brought to you by the Numa Group Limited, and we are so grateful for your participation. Please follow us on our social media handles. I will take that very quickly again. If you'd follow us on Facebook, we are Newmark Group Limited. On Instagram, we are Newmark_digital. On X, we are Newmark World. And on LinkedIn, we are the Newmark Group. So please follow us on all our social media handles. And you can follow us on our channel on YouTube as the Newmark Group. And you would find this video and other insightful videos that you could use for your brand as well. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Have an amazing day and God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.